Good morning to all. So today we'll try to understand the basic principles, underlying principles of the various tensile testing instruments. So we'll start with pendulum lever principle with CRT, that is constant rate of traverse. This is one of the oldest principles used to measure the load produced inside the specimen. It comes under gravimetric type, as we can see here. If we try to see the basic construction, the line diagram, this is a small pulley. This is pendulum hanging here, and this distance is capital R, right? And the radius of the small pulley is small r, and this is a steel tape. This blue thing is a steel tape which is attached here at the pulley. This is jaw 1 and this is jaw 2. Between this the sample is clamped. It may be yarn, lee or fabric. Accordingly jaws are designed, and this second jaw, this jaw 2 is connected to the screw mechanism, and through this jaw is traversed down at a constant rate. So that is why this instrument comes under CRT principle. Now what happens when the jaw 2 is pulled downwards with the constant traverse rate? What happens now? If v is the velocity of the jaw 2 and u is the velocity of jaw 1, and assuming that the specimen is inextensible, u and v will be same. So with the help of that law of moments, we can say that according to law of moments, the force into perpendicular distance is fixed around the pivot point, and if this O is the pivot point and this is the force developed in the specimen, and this mg is the weight of the pendulum, and you just see this diagram, it will be more clear. Okay, this is the same diagram, but here I am trying to show that if this jaw 2 is pulled downwards, this pendulum will rise with an angle theta this way, because this pulley will have anti-clockwise movement due to this steel tape is being pulled downwards. So this pulley will have anti-clockwise movement to some extent, and this pendulum will rise here. Now what happens if the mg is the weight of the pendulum and this x is the distance of this pendulum from this point, this pivot point, and small r is the radius of this small pulley, and f is the force developed inside the specimen, then we can say according to law of moments that f into r is equal to mg into x. Now this x can also be written in terms of this capital R and theta, which is r sine theta. So I can say fr is equal to mgr sine theta. Now we know that capital R, capital M, small g and small r, these are constants for a given instrument. So we can say that f is directly proportional to sine theta, that is force developed inside the specimen can be measured through this angle, how much angle it has been uplifted. Okay, f is directly proportional to sine theta. This is the basic part of the pendulum lever principle, that force developed inside the sample is directly proportional to the sine of the angle risen by the pendulum. Okay, now the next thing here we will try to understand two terms. One is machine rate of loading and other is time rate of loading. Okay, now what is machine rate of loading? Machine increase in load per unit increase in displacement of the upper jaw is called machine rate of loading, that is force divided by displacement of the upper jaw. And we know that displacement of the upper jaw here, it is equal to length of the arc L is equal, theta is equal to L upon R. We know the basic formula from geometry of the circle. So L can be written as R d theta. So machine rate of loading will be change in force divided by R d theta. Now if we differentiate this expression of force we have derived here, F is equal to mgr upon small r sine theta. If we differentiate this expression with respect to theta, we'll get the value of machine rate of loading as, here we have shown it. Machine rate of loading is mu, which is mgr upon r square cos theta. Okay, now in this only theta changes, and this term, this mgr upon r square is termed as standard machine rate of loading, that is mu naught. Similarly, we can calculate time rate of loading. Now, what is time rate of loading? That is force, change in force with respect to time, that is df upon dt. Now, df upon dt can be written as df upon d theta into d theta upon dt. So, we already know df upon d theta. From here, we can calculate, and into d theta upon dt is all can be written as v upon r. Why we have written it? Because the L is equal to r theta, we have already discussed, and speed is equal to distance upon time. So distance can be written as speed into time. So v dt is equal to r d theta. That is why d theta upon dt can be written as v upon r. It is a simple formula based thing. You can understand. Otherwise, if you have any problem, please contact. Now the other 2 or 3 aspects related to this instrument is, one is inertia effect. Okay, we know inertia is a property of a matter by which it continues in its existing state of rest or of uniform motion unless it is changed by an external force. So all the gravimetric instruments have this inertia effect, error due to inertia effect, because in starting it will take more force to move from the state of rest, and when it is in motion it can give us higher reading due to overthrow. So now the next second part is effect of specimen extension. In this when we were discussing this instrument, we have assumed that a specimen is inextensible. Now if the specimen is extensible, then u, that is the velocity of the upper jaw, will be lower than the velocity of upper jaw will be lower than the velocity of lower jaw. So we can calculate the time to break with this expression. Okay, the next instrument we'll discuss is stellometer, which is a purely CRL based instrument. Number 1. Number 2, it is used only for fiber bundle strength testing, tensile testing. It is a gravimetric based instrument, and it is based on pendulum lever principle. And why it is named as stellometer? Because it gives us the strength as well as elongation. So ST from strength and EL from elongation has given its name STEL, stellometer. Okay, now it is based on pendulum lever principle. So we'll try to understand how it works. One more thing we must know, that it is based on CRL. In this 1 kilogram per second 1 kilogram per second load rate we have maintained, and gauge length is 1/8 inch, and if we consider the total effective length, it will be considering the length of jaws also, this between jaws it is 1/8 inch, and total is 0.59 inches, that is 15 mm. Okay, now how this works? Okay, now stellometer has 2 main parts. One is this beam, which is a very heavy part, and other is this pendulum. Both of them are pivoted at this point. They are joined at this point. There are 2 clamps. One is attached to pendulum and other is attached to beam. Now The CG of beam, CG is center of gravity, and the property of center of gravity of any substance is that it tries to go towards the lowest position possible. Okay, now this the design is such that the CG is at this point, and here we have a catch or a stop, and in the initial position this whole assembly is in vertical position. Now what happens if we remove the catch? The tendency of this beam is to move in clockwise direction to lower its center of gravity, and if there is no specimen here, then the pendulum remains in vertical condition, it doesn't move. But what happens when there is specimen here, and then pendulum also moves through that particular angle and follows the beam in clockwise direction. Now this angle moved by the pendulum gives us an idea about the force developed inside the specimen according to the pendulum lever principle, that is F is directly proportional to sine theta, which we can understand more clearly according to this diagram. Now this is the pendulum, and this is the specimen, jaw 1, jaw 2, and this is the force developed inside the specimen. So force developed inside the specimen, and this distance and this angle theta, and this is OG sine theta, and we can see that F will be directly proportional to this OG upon OQ into this W, that is the weight of the pendulum, into sine theta. So F is directly proportional to sine theta, other terms are constant. So we can say that stellometer is basically based on pendulum lever principle, that is F is directly proportional to sine theta. And one more thing, this is a dashpot. Now what is a dashpot? A dashpot is a piston with a viscous liquid to restrain the movement. What is it doing here is it applies restraining force so that angular rotation of beam is constant. If I talk in simple terms, you know that you have got spring in doors and some sort of piston attached to doors to avoid the sudden movement of doors. You use that in your homes. Okay. Why we use it? To control to restrain the sudden movements. So here also due to this dashpot, inertial errors are reduced. Okay, thank you for today. We'll continue in next class.